This is the Toshiba G910 browsing the web. Now, if I was going to buy a smartphone with a keyboard like that and a screen like that, now bear in mind it's a VGA screen and I have to admit the screen quality itself is very good, I'd be using it to browse the web rather a lot. Indeed, I bought myself a Nokia E90 for just that use, and I get quite a bit of use out of it from browsing the web. It's not perfect by any means, but it renders sites rather well. However, this is based on Windows Mobile, and I'd heard some really bad things about Windows Mobile, its Internet Explorer. So I thought I'd check it out. I'm not exactly the greatest fan in the world of Internet Explorer anyway, having spent quite a bit of time developing websites and knowing just how painful developing for any version of Internet Explorer is. But I thought I'd give it a go. I mean, this is the pocket version. As you can see, however, now you're watching this, well, if you're watching this straight from YouTube, if you go to mobilementalism.com, which is my site, you'll see that the header doesn't look anything like that. And obviously if you're watching this clip from the embedded version of the video, you'll see that my header doesn't look anything like that. Worst of all, that's meant to be the categories from just underneath the header. They're all meant to be in a line, horizontally. Now you might think, well, this is the mobile version, come on, you can't be that picky. But there's a version of Opera that's on this device that renders it fine, and the WebKit browser on my E90 renders it just fine. Internet Explorer, however, renders it all, oh my god, like this. This is nothing like the way the site actually looks in any browser I've ever seen in my life. This is just unnavigable. Now, I'm having to press down here, because you can also use the stylus here, and scroll down here, but the problem that you've got is that actually tapping it there, as you can see, it doesn't want to work. I'm sure it can be done, but it's just too fiddly. So I end up just using the down button there to try and browse the web. But as you can see, all I'm doing at the moment is just scrolling through the different links on the left. It's just, well, it's a little bit unusable. Now the other way of doing it, of course, is with the Opera browser. I'll just call that up if you hang on a sec. So, push the Windows Start menu button here. That calls this up. Now you have to bear with me because I'm doing this left-handedly. If we go into Programs with the stylus, which I have actually managed to do. Okay, in about an hour's time, shall we just try that again? Right, this is another thing, it doesn't seem to be that responsive. There we go. Click on Programs, and there's the Opera browser. Programs just shows you what kind of programs actual comes with the phone. So we've got Windows Messenger, which to be fair actually works quite well. Opera browser. Image to text, which if you'll see from the review that I write on mobilementalism.com, doesn't actually work. And here we've got the Opera browser. Now you'll note, as it's Windows Mobile, you don't have to double click the stylus, which is quite useful. You just click it once. Now this is the Opera Mobile, so if... Now yesterday when I tried this, the stylus is... No, not going to work. Okay, what I'll do now, and this is what I keep having to do. You either use the phone as the phone's stylus, or you use the keyboard. What I keep doing is using a little bit of both. Basically using the stylus, but as you can see the stylus just isn't that responsive. Hide. You see that? There we go. Eventually, the stylus gets the fact that you want to hide that balloon and get it out of the way. If I now click in the address bar, okay, finally. So we'll delete that and go for mobilementalism.com. Again, there's predictive text. So I type in M and the first thing it says is marriage, which my girlfriend will love. So I personally will go running for the hills. Predictive text mobile. Right, and okay. I'm guessing it's not going to predict mentalism. Because to be honest, when I tell people the name of my site, they go, so mentalist, mentalism, mental. No, mentalism. I can tell that brand building was never my forte. Anyway, mobilementalism.com. And now I press enter, and what do we get? This is the Opera browser rendering mobilementalism.com on the Toshiba G910. The server was unable to send acceptable data. Now this is in fact a lie, because you just saw it working on Internet Explorer on the very same device, and it also works on the Nokia E90 without any problem. So, I don't know what Opera's problem is there. Now, it must be stressed that I haven't actually optimised Mobile Mentalism for Opera on a Windows mobile device. It's only me developing Mobile Mentalism, so there's only so much time of the day. But I can show you over TechCrunch. There we go. Oh, for crying out loud. TechCrunch.com. I should stress at this stage that it looks like I'm a bit of a spanner when actually trying to enter this stuff. It's not that I'm useless with computers in general, just with this bloody device. I am getting a little bit frustrated with it, to be honest. Now, TechCrunch is quite a good web page to actually demonstrate the rendering of any particular browser, because it's always, well, it's a difficult site to render. It's reasonably complex. Generally they embed various things in there that require JavaScript, either videos or Google Docs or something like that. It's very large. In some cases can be over 1 meg in size just for the homepage alone. Contains lots of images and also has fairly small text. So in terms of trying to read it on a small browser such as this, it's actually quite a good challenge. Now, I read TechCrunch, well, avidly every day. I have been called a geek. I'm not entirely sure that I am, but that's what people say anyway. Oh, look at that. 3 meg so far, just for the homepage. I told you it's a big one. Fortunately, I'm using HSDPA, so it's not actually taking too long to download. Anyway, here we go. Why it's so good on a mobile device to test. Like I say, I use it on the E90 quite a lot. The text on TechCrunch is quite small, and there's a lot of it. So trying to read it on a small device is quite challenging. It really does show the quality of the actual screen if you can read it okay. Now, what Opera's done, here we go. Now again, I'm having to use the up and down keys to scroll, because the scroll bar there is simply useless. But what you'll notice, and what hopefully you'll notice on the Opera browser here, is that the screen, the whole page, hasn't rendered within the size of the screen. So in other words, everything's gone to the right a bit. So I'll need to shift this to the left, like that, in order to read it properly. This is annoying, because obviously it means that in order for me to see any of the actual images, I'll need to scroll to the right when I get to them. Or if I wanted to see some of the sidebar stuff. Now another thing that you should note, whenever I press down, not an awful lot's happened. I've pressed down now. Now I'm going to press down again. Pressed it again. Okay, just keep showing that. I'm pressing down. Ah, now something's happened. In other words, the responsiveness of it is pretty shocking. Now, to be fair, it is still rendering images, and it is a 4 meg page. But you keep on pressing down. And when nothing happens like that, you keep on pressing down. And for every time you press down, see, I'm not pressing at the moment, it's just catching up with the keystrokes that I pressed originally. So what you can do in frustration, you'll keep on pressing down a few times, you'll find a bit of text that you want to read. So if I just keep pressing down, oh, another thing that's happened, you'll notice that the actual page is now in the middle, so I'll need to move over to the left again. Okay, so if I wanted to start reading that page, reading that bit of text, I wanted to scroll down, I'll do that a few times, start reading that, and before you know it, it bounces back up again. And so forever we're going up and down, left and right. Now, it's not a bad browsing experience compared to others. I mean, if you've got a small mobile phone, I'm thinking of the Nokia N95, for example, which isn't actually designed as a smartphone. It's more designed as a mobile phone that can browse the web quite well, and that comes with HTTP and Wi-Fi, just like the Protege. Then browsing the web on that's quite difficult because you've only got the keypad. However, this is a smartphone with a large keypad, a VGA screen, and a stylus, not to mention HSDPA and Wi-Fi. You'd expect, therefore, to be able to browse the web rather well. But in fact you can't, and this is the frustrating thing about it. The actual chip inside it is too slow to actually render the web pages fast enough. That's my cat, by the way. And the browsers involved, either Opera or Internet Explorer, either aren't up to the job in the case of Internet Explorer, or are too clunky to work with a combination of the screen size that the Protege gives you, and well, just the general poor performance of the chip. So the end result is a web browsing experience that is extremely frustrating, which is a bit of a shame.